All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Gabrielle Seville just came in, so it's time to officially start. On behalf of Beyond Baroque, I'd like to welcome you all to the Wanda Coleman Theater. And to the second installment of the Next Words CalArts Showcase. So give it up for our three amazing artists, authors, writers. We're in for a treat. My name is Jimmy Vega. I am the Associate Director of Beyond Baroque. I'd like to start by acknowledging Beyond Baroque's presence on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Tonga peoples. We acknowledge the wrong done to these peoples through settler colonialism, genocidal practices, and the violent disposition of their land. As an arts organization, we are committed to uplifting Indigenous communities, their stories, and cultures. For those who don't know, Beyond Baroque is Los Angeles' oldest literary arts center located here in Venice, California. Founded in 1968, first as an experimental literary magazine before reimagining itself and becoming the literary home we know it as today. We are based out of the original Venice City Hall and help support writers and help cultivate new writing through our extensive program of writing workshops, readings, and performances. We offer a number of workshops online via Zoom, such as our free weekly Monday night fiction workshop, facilitated by Raquel Baker, and our historic Wednesday night poetry workshop, currently facilitated by L.A. Johnson. Similarly, we offer several paid in-person and online intensive workshops throughout the year. In May, we have a sonnet workshop with William Archilla and an eco-poetics workshop with Amanda Ackerman, so please do check those out. Aside from our workshops, we offer several readings throughout the year. Tonight, we have a bit of a doubleheader today. So tonight, we'll host Translating Latin American Poetics, featuring readings and translations by Frank Baez, Carlo Acevedo, among others. And tomorrow, we have a very special reading and celebration celebrating the life and legacy of our good friend, Linda J. Albertano, and welcoming our first fellow of the Linda J. Albertano Fellowship, Abby Page. So I hope that we can see you all tomorrow, help celebrate Abby and get to celebrate Linda as well. Along with Abby, we're going to be featuring readings by Brendan Constantine, S.A. Griffin, and 2/3 of Nearly Fatal Women, Susan Lummis and Laurel Ambogan. So do please come back for that and check us out on our website and on our socials to learn more. We also offer several memberships to Beyond Baroque. Memberships to the space really help us to keep the space thriving and helps us offer free programming, some free workshops, and gets you some discounts as well. So please do inquire about those memberships in the bookstore if you are willing to become a member. But without further ado, I do want to kick us off into our showcase here today. Like I said, we have three incredible authors, artists who are going to be sharing some work today. So up first, we have David Evan Stolworthy, who is a writer and playwright specializing in branching narrative, existentialism, and speculative fiction. As a narrative designer, theater nerd, and avid gamer, he is fascinated with adapting video game mechanics and gameplay into immersive and interactive experiences for the stage. He is an executive producer, literary manager, and resident dramaturg with MB Stage Productions, LLC, through which his work has been produced in Southern California and off-Broadway. He received his creative writing MFA in writing and performativity at the California Institute of the Arts. Please welcome David Evan Stolworthy.
Hello. All right. I'm being joined on stage by the wonderful and amazing Eli Leffler. She will be reading the stage direction. It's a little difficult to showcase kind of a branching narrative, so instead what I'm going to be presenting is a monologue that I wrote. It is in response to a friend who is having a very difficult time with his mental health, as well as a way to kind of explore my own thoughts of suicidal ideation. So trigger warning, it does discuss those kind of topics.
Last Online by David Evan Stolworthy. Cast of characters: Oliver, male, mid-late 20s. Oliver, VR. Oliver's VR avatar, non-speaking role. Tyler Hyland, A high-level VR avatar. Non-speaking role. Setting. A living room. Time. Present day. A VR gaming setup in a living room. Someone has been playing in the dark for days on end. Projected on the back wall is what we see through the VR headset. It's a colorful fantasy world. Think Final Fantasy or World of Warcraft. Oliver stands in the living room with his VR headset on. He hasn't showered in days. He hasn't eaten anything but empty calories in weeks. He hasn't slept well in months. He exhaustedly moves a remote in his hand. Everything is dead quiet except for the occasional exhausted, frustrated sigh, sob from Oliver or the clicking of the VR remotes in his hands. The VR projection's movements are perfectly choreographed alongside Oliver's movements. When Oliver moves, it moves. If he scratches his nose, a fantasy hand appears in the screen and scratches its nose. It is a full-body motion capture between the two. This goes on for quite some time, until Oliver runs into Tyler Highwind, a video game avatar dressed in white robes. They look high-level, like a pro gamer has put a lot of love into them. Tyler Highwind is static except for the occasional repetitive character movement, adjusting his armor, that occurs when one doesn't move their avatar for some time. Oliver is surprised when he finds Tyler Highwind. After a moment, he relaxes and breathes out a sigh of relief. He looks at Tyler Highwind, taking the...
They said you wouldn't be here. They said you'd have disappeared by now, but I had a feeling. I don't know. Something told me that you'd still be here. God damn. 2 months I've been looking for your ass. You couldn't have ended in a more inconvenient fucking place. I had to level up like crazy just to get here. Like, do you know how many times I got killed by those fucking bird raptor things? I have PTSD now because whenever I hear something cluck in the distance, you fucking asshole. God, those fucking chickens. If you kill enough of them, they give you a golden egg. Did you know that? Yeah, you probably knew that. You got new upgrades? I think you did. I'm still wearing the same goddamn armor I started with. I never figured out how to switch it. I just dodge things now. I'm getting pretty good at it. My armor class is shit, so if I get hit by any attacks right now, I pretty much die in one hit. It's those fucking chickens. You'd be impressed how much gold I have. I'm sorry I haven't been online in a while. It's with school and work going on. I just never found the time to log on. I still read the group chats between you and the others. You got a new guy, so you've been doing great without me. You gotta replace the noob to level up. And I know you guys were fine helping me level up. It just felt embarrassing having you guys play around and with me while you were so far ahead. I'm not sure if they play much anymore.
Oliver picks up an alcohol bottle that was hidden from view. It's humorous seeing him fish for the bottle, but it comes naturally. He raises the whole bottle up. On VR, his avatar raises a sword. It looks like he is knighting Taylor Highwind.
Cheers, dude. I should have been there for you. I was so busy with James that I shouldn't have ignored your call. I should have answered the phone. I knew you were struggling, and I still ignored your call. And I'm sorry. I wasn't there for you, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Tyler Highwind adjusts his armor. This is the first time Oliver has seen it do this. Oliver mistakes this for actual movement and gets excited momentarily before the realization sinks in that it is only an idling character movement.
I expect you to start talking over the headset, bitching to me about how I've been away for so long. I know this meant a lot to you and I didn't play. I just sucked at it so much. Like, I've never liked RPGs. And I felt you getting frustrated because of how much I struggled to do the simplest shit. I mean, fucking jumping was hard, and it was the fucking space bar. Do you know that this is actually easier over VR? It's like 3 buttons. I bought it after. I bought it with the money I was saving up for the move. I think you would have liked it. It's like living in a different world. You don't have to worry about combos anymore. You just swing your weapon. James and I are good. We're getting an apartment together. He's covering the deposit since I spent so much getting this thing. I know you'd tell me that it was too soon, but my lease is up and my landlord is a prick. Like, he told me to take the lights off of my balcony. I mean, what the hell are the lights on my balcony going to do? They're LEDs. It's not like they're gonna like catch anything on fire. And like, you should have seen it. It was pretty cute, to be honest. I think you would have been proud of my apartment. It's nerdy as shit. You'd have liked it. My mom is doing well. Adam is doing good. We don't really talk, but that's nothing new. Dad makes me pay for my phone bill now. I'm failing my ASL class. I think that when I broke my hand when I fell, that time we were hiking, it fucked up my fingers, so it's hard to sign quickly.
Tyler Highwind adjusts his armor.
Your Facebook finally switched over to the memorial format, so that's hard to see. I haven't heard from your mom since she mailed your Buzz Lightyear Funko Pop to me. It's the only one I don't keep in the box. It's next to my Zelda figure. I took that one out of the box, too. Sometimes I look at it and get so mad. I get so mad at myself. But I guess I get mad at you too, I guess. It just feels like that everything I told you didn't matter. Like I told you, you had all this time that you were going to be okay, that you were almost done with school, and then you'd be finished, and then you could take a break and come visit me. You had one fucking semester, not even one semester. I bought a plane ticket out for your graduation. I wasn't going to tell you because I wanted it to be a surprise. You were graduating with your master's, and that's a big deal. And you worked so hard for it, and I thought flying out to California would mean a lot to you. And I spent so much money on that ticket. Then I had to change it to see you in a fucking box. You fucking asshole. I told you that you were going to be fine. But you never listened to me anyway. And I always turned out to be right. I am always right.
Tyler Highwind adjusts his armor.
You ruined everything. Your sister and your mom are all fucked up now. And I'm drinking again. You didn't think about how this would have hurt us. You only cared about yourself. And I fucking hate you. I fucking hate you so fucking much. You fucking piece of shit.
He takes a swing at Tyler Highwind. Tyler doesn't react. Perhaps the swing goes through him.
You fucking asshole!
He hits Tyler Hyland again and again. Tyler Hyland doesn't react.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
He takes out a sword and starts to slash, stab, hit, swipe, and bludgeon Tyler Hyland, who doesn't react.
I hate you! I hate you! I fucking hate you!
He stops swinging and falls to the ground.
I get why you would do it. You were alone and I wasn't there for you. And I should have been there for you. I should have been there for you, and maybe it's all my fault. I should have answered the phone. I should have called back. I should have played more of this game when you were here. I should have tried harder instead of giving up so quickly. I shouldn't have left. I shouldn't have let this happen. God, this Jack Daniels tastes like shit. I just remembered how we took shots of, fuck. What was it called? I don't remember. I miss you. I really miss you. I guess I should go now. I'm tired, and James is he's making dinner. Well, he's ordered sushi. He hates it, but he knows I loved it. And you and I would order it together a lot. I guess I don't owe you dinner anymore. I might not be online again for a while. This was hard, and I don't know if I can do this again for a bit. Maybe you'll be gone the next time I'm online, but...
He moves to align himself next to Tyler Hyland and goes to hold his hand. In VR, they are holding hands. In reality, Oliver has his hand extended to no one.
I'm with you now, and I'm not going anywhere. But I do gotta go. So I'll see you later.
He turns off the VR headset. The projection turns off, leaving Oliver standing in the dark alone. He takes off the headset and looks down at his empty hand. Slowly fade to black. Curtain. End of play.
One more time for the duo here. Give it up for David. Yes, yes.
I kept trying to keep it like, I was counting down from 10, so
Well, next up, we are about to welcome back to the stage Eli Leffler, who is a poet, visual artist, and writer specializing in speculative fiction and stories about illness and the body. She graduated from the University of Virginia in 2022 with a BA in English. While at UVA, she performed slam poetry in Flux and published a cartoon in the Cavalier Daily. She's currently pursuing an MFA in creative writing at the California Institute of the Arts. Please welcome Eli Leffler.
Okay. I'm going to be reading two smaller pieces, both works from my thesis. And the first section that I'm going to read is from Thoughts About What It Means to Be Taken Care of. The first time my parents didn't believe me when I said I was in pain. I broke my arm when I was in 5th grade. Things like that happen to a lot of kids. In elementary school especially, I remember it was always exciting when someone came into class with a cast on their arm or foot, and everyone would crowd around to sign it. Have you really lived if you never broke a bone or at least sprained something? No one ever expects to hurt themselves while playing with scooters and bikes or while swinging on the monkey bars, but it was never out of the realm of possibility. I tried to avoid all the things that could get a kid hurt. From a very young age, I was more sensitive to pain and hated getting hurt. After a single reckless event at 7, when my head had to be lifted out of my collarbone with a neck brace, I was cautious. That didn't stop accidents from happening. It just turned the accidents that did happen into massive crying fits. The tears would not stop pouring out of me, no matter what I or my family tried to do to distract me. Paper cuts burned far longer, and bruises were more sensitive. When I broke my arm, my parents didn't believe me. It was the first time they didn't believe me when I said I was in extreme pain. They had always comforted me through periods of nausea and migraines. They were sympathetic whenever I cried about cuts and bruises and burning my mouth on hot things. They knew I was a sensitive kid. When I flipped over the handlebars on a scooter, landing oddly on my left wrist, they knew it must have hurt, but they thought that my crying and screaming was an overreaction, that it was probably the shock of the accident that had scared me into being an anxious, crying mess about pain. We had just moved into a new house in this new neighborhood, and they were busy with a man from the security company explaining how to set the alarm for the house and what to do if it was set off accidentally. Funnily enough, my father has a video recording in which I am screaming in the background about my arm. It took 3 hours of making an absolute racket before my parents thought to take me to an urgent care or hospital to get it checked out. They weren't trying to ignore me or the pain that I was in. They had just grown so accustomed to my overreaction to pain signals from small things that the big things that warranted such reactions were thought to be small things too. I can understand the boy who cried wolf perspective they had come to adopt because of being constantly bombarded by complaints and crying fits about injuries. When we got to the hospital and I was taken in to get an x-ray, my father assured me that nothing was wrong and that the pain would subside after I'd gotten over the shock, that I would only have a wicked bruise to show for it, if anything at all. Sometimes I think about the face my father made when the doctor came into the room talking about a broken bone. His mouth fell ajar enough to see the silver fillings on his teeth. At the same time, his eyebrows jumped up in surprise. It took him a moment to regain his composure, as the doctor discussed how they would need to wrap it temporarily in a soft bandage until the swelling went down and they could put a hard cast on it. My father's eyes stayed on my arm. In hindsight, the whole thing was kind of funny. I ran over a branch on a scooter and flipped over the handlebars, landing hard on the pavement. No one besides an AC repairman from a house down the street had noticed me. He walked me to my house while I screamed and was confused when my parents brushed off his concerns, saying, "This happens a lot." I sat on the stairs of a new house for 3 hours, cradling my arm while my parents tried to ignore me as they focused on the security representative's instructions. The way that my dad talked to me in the car, the shock on his face after the news and his sudden retreat into self as my arm was wrapped in a cast and I was given painkillers. The drive to a restaurant where we had planned to meet my sister and mother because this trip to the hospital was supposed to be quick and pointless. How he kept muttering apologies under his breath. The fact that as all this happened, he hadn't updated my mother. How my mother's eyes grew so big when she saw me walking in with a cast and sling. How my sister asked what happened, like she hadn't been there the whole time I was screaming about being hurt. It was something that could have been written for a movie. I ended up having to wear a cast longer than usual because of the proximity of the break to the growth plate in my wrist. The doctors wanted to make sure everything was stable enough to not pose a risk of another break that could damage my arm's ability to grow along with the rest of me. When the cast was finally removed for good, we found the Band-Aid that one of my parents, I can't remember who, had put on a scrape I got from the accident, believing that the repair of the loss of a few layers of skin was all the treatment I would need. Next bit is a short story called The Words I Couldn't Say. A nightingale, a bolt of lightning, a barking dog, Salome's Dance of the Seven Veils, deadly stabbing, a pagoda dance, the sunrise, a bureau, a magician, and several birds. Birds flying, birds waking, birds fighting, and birds singing. My mother has played all these characters as a professional musician. The piccolo and flute she wields makes every part come to life. A horse, a tiger, a whale, dogs, birds, people, a bicycle, flowers, table settings, the forest, the sea, the moon, and landscapes. Mountains, valleys, vast plains in the sky. I have drawn and painted all these subjects, distinctly filling in shapes with color and smudging mediums around for shadows. My mother and I communicate through art. It is in her persistent nature to finish what she starts. It is my nature to follow where my feelings take me. As a kid, she got hooked on practicing. As an adult, she is still hooked. The smallest mistake forces her to play again and again, repeat over and over, dissect every note and silent rest of the offending measure. Sometimes this leads her to trying a different head joint, to cleaning the keypads so precisely just to find the comfortable breath of playing the music right. My mother hopes that everyone gets hooked on something they enjoy. My joy once very passionately, about drawing and painting and sculpting. Anything that would allow me to manifest something physical outside my own body, outside of my own mind. My mother was ever encouraging, always asking me for a drawing and something new. Practically, since I was first able to hold a writing utensil at the age of 2 or 3 up to college, I was creating something myself. Experimenting with new watercolor sets, trying to figure out how best to blend a certain medium, how exactly a person recreates the world around them on paper, or using my sister as a model for sketches and sculptures. My mother was always behind me, supporting me, buying me supplies, finding camps and classes to take, moving me to a certain high school that would allow me to pursue these creativities. She drew this massive scientific figure on the wall to study the names and compositions of Earth's atmosphere, my mother bragged when we sat in the office of the admissions interview for my middle and high school, trying to convince them that I belonged in their school. What project were you working on today? My mother always asked when she picked me up from the art studio I spent 3 hours every Sunday working in. The studio was a 40-minute drive from our house. Today I finished my ink wash, so next week I'll be working with colored pencil. I always showed her pictures of my work in progress before we left the studio parking lot. I loved completing each project and learning new techniques. I had spent 9 hours on the ink wash painting, so finally moving on from it felt good. I didn't do art because I wanted to be praised for it, but the encouragement certainly helped. When I graduated from high school with a ceramic sculpture portfolio, she quickly found places all over the house for all my pieces. 2 cupped hands carved from stoneware sit proudly on the side table right next to the front entryway. When she first placed it there, anytime a new person came into the house, she would make sure to point it out to them. Look at what Ellie did. Isn't it amazing? At first, I was always happy to see that someone enjoyed what I was making, that someone could think that a rudimentary sketch or amateur sculpture had any artistic vision to it at all. I would be the first to point out the mistakes and discrepancies. My mother had always been my biggest supporter in everything. It was a great disappointment for her to see me fall away from the things I once enjoyed doing. We do not talk about art often. She will send me pictures of some painting she saw at a friend's house or in a store, accompanied with a question mark or, "You can do something like this, right?" I stopped making art in college. To the disappointment of my mother, I did not take more painting or figure drawing classes. From the moment I began painting to the moment I entered college, I never quit making art. It was unheard of. She had always wanted me to pursue what I was good at, and she knew I was good at painting. "You can't hide it from me," she would say. "I can't hold the paintbrush steady anymore. It doesn't even have to be realistic. Do something abstract. It hurts too much. What am I going to do with all these blank canvases? I don't know why you bought them. Can't you paint me this one thing? Why do you want me to do this so badly? I miss you painting. I miss your art. I know, and I'm sorry. We will find someone to figure this out." Even if the pain was gone, I'm not sure you can fix a broken spirit. My mother is a person of action. She is determined to finish what she starts and will work towards some future accomplishment obsessively. My mother is a researcher and a detective. When she gets a hold of the internet, there is no telling what she may discover. Her mission to cure my health started in 2009. She found as many clinics and specialists as she could, trying to discover the person with all the answers. I thought I was responsible for making you so sick. It wasn't your fault. Doctors told me that you reflected the anxiety of the household, which is why you felt so bad. They were wrong about that. I was so worried when you told me that you thought you had cancer. I didn't know what was happening either. You were such a crazy, bright kid before all this. I barely remember. I just wish I could wave a magic wand and make you all better. I'm sorry I put you through all this. A squeaky gate, gales in a storm, the sun coming out, and birds, lots of birds. My mother can become all of them in music. A tired kid, a sick teenager, a chronically ill adult, characters I was never predicted to become. My middle name comes from the title of a musical piece and a bird with an elaborate song in flight. I was meant to be a lark, happy and carefree, full of enthusiasm, symbol of daybreak. I was not what my mother was expecting. I was not what my mother hoped for me to be. One summer, after I had stopped painting and drawing, I decided I would try to fulfill my mother's wish. I dragged an old easel from the storage room next to the garage into the basement. I laid out a painter's tarp and took my art box out of the coat closet. I set up a small table with a clean paint palette and put one of the blank canvases onto the easel. I sat and stared at it for a long time. The first tube of paint I opened was a very rich blue. I covered the entire canvas in the color, evening out the layers, rubbing out brush marks, and making sure every fiber had been covered in paint. I had never worked with oils before. They take a very long time to dry. My mother was in Wyoming for a music festival at the time. It was not a project I could complete in one day. I left the canvas to dry before I would begin the abstract mark making my mother had asked me to do several years before. For 3 days, I went into the basement and looked at the canvas, still wet. Then I would just go into the basement and look at it, just blue, an almost fake blue. I left the house for my next semester of college. Everything lay where I had left it. My mother returned home to find my attempt in the basement. It took her a while to discover it since she only went into the basement every so often. Is this all I get? I intended to do more. That's a pretty passive-aggressive move. I didn't mean it that way. All you had to do was paint some gold and white streaks and spots here and there. I know. Why did you just leave it blue? The paint was wet. So what happened after it dried? I couldn't pick up the brush again. I thought your tremors were gone. They are. Then why? I just couldn't. Are you mad at me? No, I thought I could do it. Then what happened? It was just so incredibly blue.
Thank you, Elle. All right. Up next, we have Abby Page, is a Jamaican-American interdisciplinary writer and filmmaker. Their creative, critical, theoretical practice explores the unimaginable metaphysics of Black livingness. They graduated from Brown University with a BA in African Studies and Literary Arts, with honors as a recipient of the Mellon Mays Undergraduate Research Fellowship. They're pursuing MFA in Creative Writing and Film Video at CalArts, where they also work as a peer writing tutor and a teaching assistant. They're a recipient of the Truman Capote Literary Trust Fellowship, the Ethel Robinson Award for Creative Research, as well as a member of Phi Beta Kappa and the House of Glitter Performance Lab. I'll also mention she is the inaugural winner and first fellow of the Linda J. Albertano Fellowship. Please make some noise for Abby Page.
Hello. B. Jenkins on my bookshelf, a triptych. 1. My territory, sunflowers. Full bloom in the piano guts. Don't press on me, baby. Pluck me, baby. Pluck me. Put your fingers in my rib cage and jazz me. Reconstruct a childhood memory of mine. Put yourself in the corner of it so that I've always carried you with me. And I'm wailing, honey. I'm wailing as you reach up slowly and caress my smooth, damp petals. I'm lingering on your fingertips if you can get down with the waning blues note. Disjointed harmony between lung capacity and vocal fry. God, I'm so full this morning. My flesh hums for you, darling. 2. Sister, let me tell you something. I've met someone who sleeps with me but never touches me, and God, ain't that just holy. I'm between break and secret here, between break and secret here, and I can only tilt my head upwards, close my eyes in reverence at the basement ceiling. A sunflower grows out the concrete. 3. If you press on me, baby, with 7 fingers instead of 5, it grinds me up. And you'll eat that dirt, of course, because all dirt roads taste of salt, and don't you know God is change? So, of course, no furious protest here. I'm unfolding if you want to hold me, a risky one. I'll coat your hands and give you something to draw with. This isn't a love poem. I've never felt such a thing. I mean, the love poem, of course. No. This is architecture. This is where bodies go when they rot. This is where sunflowers germinate. This is what they call music, honey. The wages of colonial destruction. This is my belly of the world. And before you know it, I've swallowed you up fully. You're a ball in my stomach waiting to come out of my womb, but I won't give it to you anymore. No. No more breath of life from me anymore. If you want to fuck me in my intellect, you're gonna have to narrativize, and narrativize me only. See. Yeah. Cool. Dear God, do you ever feel like an astronaut that's been sent out into deep space on a solo mission, and the only thing connecting you back to Earth is this really, really long piece of string, but the string is fraying just out of your reach, and it hasn't broken yet, but you're pretty sure that it's gonna break, but it still hasn't yet, and so you keep stretching your fingertips out trying to reach it, but you can't, so you keep seeing the distant planet Earth being crushed by your hands over and over and over again, and you're worried that your mom is gonna get mad at you for destroying all of civilization, but you can't even hear her voice anyway because she's so far away, and it's all super lonely but super freeing at the same time because this is the first time you can sing Beyonce's Listen without everyone laughing how tone deaf you are, and you feel bigger than everything but also super small at the same time, like small like the atoms that make up blood vessels and teeth, and especially the blood atoms that spill over your teeth when you brush your teeth too hard, but so big that you feel like your teeth could crush mountain tops and cause volcanoes to rise in the deep sea. And you can't let the string go because you'll float off forever and ever, but you're watching it fray and you already feel like you are this giant microscopic ghost sitting on the outside of your mom's ear on Earth, being swatted at by hands like the same way the string moves when you kick your feet out in order to stretch your hands to the broken part, but your limbs won't stop tingling because you're so cold. But it's like a warm kind of cold, like an ice water coming out of your eyes and stinging your heat in the desert, stinging your cheeks in the desert heat kind of cold. I'll hold you close and keep you kind of cold. Yeah, I feel that way too sometimes. Yours always, Abby, 4 years old. Dear God, Octavia Butler, when you said make a place that is your opposite, anticipate your outside field movement before it happens and do the reverse upside down, inside out, retreat so far inside of yourself that when you come out the other end, when you were said that, did you know that yesterday I cut chunks of my baby afro off with mama's sewing scissors and began shoving fistfuls of it down my throat and then began to chew on my fingers and my wrists and my forearms, and suddenly I was in my stomach, my womb stomach, and then my brother found my mess and started eating it, and mama didn't know for a really long time that I was in there, that my brother was carrying me in his stomach. And so when my black holes expand, I am slowly but surely rupturing him too, seeping from the pores in his skin. And is that how singularities are made? Yours always, Abby, 4 years old. Dear God, Anna Martine Whitehead. Me too. I too am undead. I too am sick. I too feel hungry and hobble about and scare everyone who sees me. I too become we too and do so infinitely. And I know this because yesterday I pulled mama out from between my teeth because I was mad at her. I'm we hungry, God. I'm we hungry. Yours always, Abby, 4 years old. Dear God, Amber Jamila Musser. Dear God, how come you were brothers with Judas if he was so mean to you? Did he love you? Did he love you? Was he just a more plus less than one to make you possible? Did he love you? Is that why? Dear God, Mama. Dear God, Audrey Lord. Dear God, Tisa Bryant. Dear God, Pastor Melba. Dear God, Christina Sharp. Dear God, Maya Angelou. Dear God, Gabrielle Seville. Dear God, Alexis Pauline Gums. Dear God, Nina Simone. Dear God, do you ever feel hungry? If not, when not, how do you know you're alive? Yours always, Abby, 4 years old. Objects that almost touch each other, aka the mother diptych. 1. Rorschach, a game with personality. Consider me morphing. Imagine me ink and splattered across the page. If identity is a game, I am winning at all costs. Picture my skin steamrolled into playing cards. Mama says that God has already won your battle, so I ask, what's the use in playing? Mama says that I'm still a little black girl, that I'll grow up when I leave my wonderlands. But I say if I stop falling down the rabbit hole, then I might shatter on the landing. When I was 4 years old, I climbed into my own mouth, swallowed myself whole, filled my belly with my baby afro, and then my brother ate me too. And sometimes I think that's why it's so hard for me to picture myself into being, because he is out there in the galaxy, belly flopping through solar systems, struggling for oxygen, snatching up and feasting on other alien beings, and my black shell doll casing sits at my desk typing. And what does that say about me? Mama says I imagine things, that I always turn my nothing into something, that if I'm empty, I should let the word of God fill me. But I say I am stuck at tea time, slurping up stars through a bendy straw in an attempt to suck myself back into myself. And isn't that enough? Isn't it good to hunger and thirst? Isn't it good to always want more, winning at all costs, winning at all costs, winning at all costs? And sometimes I wish the Queen of Red Hearts would scream, off with her head, after I demolish her at her own game of croquet, my mallet a rocket ship and my ball the sun. Then I could walk around with my head in my hands, scooping up knowledge and other piles of shit, instead of on my shoulders where it feels so elsewhere. 2. Sea green lamp cracking all over, painted blossoms on the back. Consider me angelic. Squint at my body like it's sunshine, like my eclipsed being could burn your eyes out. Rewrite my internalized metaphor until darkness is a thing that purifies. You must close your eyes or you won't see anything. Picture me falling, see me falling. I am falling, and sometimes I have wings and actually might be flying. I am no Alice, and I am not my wonderlands, or at least the parts of me wrapped in kente cloths and sealed with edge control gel exist elsewhere. I still sleep with my lamplight on most nights, and you may think that's embarrassing, but I know that I was taught to fear the dark and the things that go bump in it, so I guess you could say I was taught to fear myself and all of my exes. Mama says that God should be my everything, that he makes up the worlds I should exist in, but I say my worlds are spinning, orbiting one another, cracking, crashing, colliding, destroying my own atmosphere, my own way of breathing. I hope that I am not killing God or my chances at heaven. I ride those world chunks like a coyote cowboy rides off into the sunset, away from story endings and the idea of finality and any type of eternal existence after death. My fears are my wonderlands, and so I hope the light from my lamp scares those worlds away from my dreamscapes. I fear the way my giant pink and purple stuffed penguin watches me while I sleep. When my mother and I walk up the steep slope of our street, sometimes there's an old white man waiting for the memory of me speeding down the hill on my bicycle and crashing into my neighbor's bushes to stop me in my tracks. I mean, how do I know the penguin in my room isn't him? I'd like to think I was flying. I know I was flying until I was falling, and then let me tell you, I was falling through flamingos and chickens and tables and gardens and raccoon skulls and mushrooms and the Mad Hatter's newest creations, and I want to be light, but I am anything but. And so I will tell myself that darkness is wonder, but for a while I will struggle to believe that even dreams have a tangible existence. Thanks. And then last one. Okay. Wind Up Teeth 5, a triptych. After Clarice Lispector's character, Joanna, Near to the Wild Heart. 1. The certainty that evil is my calling, thought Joanna. She felt a perfect animal inside her, full of contradictions, of selfishness and vitality. Clarice Lispector. I was bursting forth, black skin peeling back, dropping in chunks. Was serpent silver scale and banished from Eden. Was kinfolk. Girl husband, boy wife, nod on ribs to become sin eater. Was sinking 6-year-old teeth into a white boy's palm in my kindergarten class for stealing my favorite pink crayon. Blood knowledge spilling out between his lifeline and love line. Chunk of man-child on tongue. What holds the body together. Mama says Am was vicious vitality. Am was the strangest creature she's ever met. Am was insisting incipient incisors. Am was sinking into the scalp of my first crush in our neighborhood swimming pool, budding black breasts against his alabaster back, fighting his neck into the crux of my elbow, choke end, dull quick, thumping. Am was 8 and unafraid of drowning, just emptiness. Consider me hungry. 2. How after all to split time, Christina Sharp in the wake. Am was sinking out of a stranger's womb, crying red, 2 taut teeth, like everyone else, how boring. Am was drowning the doctor with my blood magma, sizzling gleam of savagery in my eye, him petrified and snips, yet phantom umbilical cord uncut.
Am was 4 and swallowing myself whole and swallowing mama whole and swallowing grandma whole. Am was 14 in the church pew at my aunt's wake, mama's sharp nails digging at the flesh bulging on the back of the black of my hand, which had held the torn children's Bible on my nightstand under a book with Harley Quinn orgasming on the cover. Am was 11 and home alone, testing torrid kisses on beautiful books in our cramped hallway, trips and bends and black toe backwards, falls and heated echoes of some other ancient mother calling out for me, hungry. 3. I'm looking at the little girl bleeding out, and it's like I'm looking in a mirror. Aqui Okpaquisili, Bronx Gothic. Am was bleeding from my black pussy for the first time, alone in the 5th grade girls' bathroom. Am was shoving fist down own throat, reaching for, am I supposed to clean all this shit up? Am was 4 and swallowing myself whole and swallowing mama whole and swallowing grandma whole, and 10 and mama says, and 9 in my thick thighs are, and 1 in my birth mothers, and 6 in cracking teeth, and 14 in my breast, and 8 in gasping for desire, and am I. Hi, mama. Hi, baby. I watch and you scrub white counters in the kitchen. Sing gospel is something to feed on. Mama honey, sing again, sing again. Thanks.
Abby Page, folks. Give it up one more time for David L. and Abby. Okay, a couple things before we wrap up. Please do come back tomorrow so we can celebrate Abby and the fellowship. And y'all know about the Los Angeles Time Festival of Books? Yes. It's happening next week, Saturday, Sunday. We're going to be there, booth 201. Please pay us a visit. And, as you graduate and go on to the world, please remember that this is your home. So please come back, take our workshops, participate in the readings, and just come and hang out with us. So congratulations to the class that is graduating, and let's go hang out outside in the lobby. Cool. Thanks for being here, y'all.